Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's the final days of our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
It's Sunday, June 15th, and this is Doing the Thing. I'm Eric Rezsnyak, and I'm here with It's a Continent's Astrid Madimba. Hello, Astrid.
Hello, Eric. Hi.
Hi. And Chinny Ukata. Hi, Chinny.
Hello.
Hello, and we are here to talk about everything happening in our worlds this week. How are you both doing? I'm going to start with Chinny. What's new? What's happening? What's going on?
Well, summer is officially here in London, so just been out and about, complaining about the heat now. So
Yes. We complain about the cold for the first 8 months, and then we go immediate to complaining about the warmth. Absolutely. Astrid, what about you? How are things going? Anything new in your life?
Nothing majorly new. We're preparing and packing for holiday, so I've got a week left. But I'm one of those terrible packers where I start off with things and then I'm removing bits and I'm like, I'm not ready yet. So yeah, it's a little bit chaotic at the minute, but I've got a week to go and still quite a lot more shopping to do. So yeah.
Astrid, as a gay man, it's part of my culture to overpack. So I will bring a steamer trunk with me for a weekend getaway. But you put it out there. I have to ask, where are you going on holiday? Obviously, keep it vague because we don't want people stalking you. But are you going anyplace exciting?
Yes, Chinny will be coming along with me as well. So we're off to Kenya.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks. No, not a couple of weeks. A week or two.
I have not even started packing, so at least you're way ahead of me.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Is this your first time being there, or?
I've been before, so it'll be Chinny's first time. But I loved it out there. Nights out were incredible, so I'm just looking forward to some sun, a lot of food, and just enjoying.
Love that. That sounds like such an exciting trip. Well, if you're listening live on Wizard Radio Station, where we do the thing live every Sunday from 8 p.m. UK time, you can actually get involved. Go ahead and tweet or DM us on Instagram at WizRadio or Twitter at WizRadio, or you can text us at no extra cost, only standard network rates apply, at 078-071-83538. And as I'm saying this, I realized in Britain, you guys say Z, not zero. Isn't that right?
We say O.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah.
It's quite confusing. Yeah.
Cultural differences, yes. Speaking of cultural differences, let's get into some topics that are happening in this week. British Parliament has passed the Data Bill, which some creatives fear will allow tech companies to train AI on copyrighted materials without the consent of the rights holders. Are you all following this? Is this something that's kind of relevant to your worlds? Chinny?
Yeah, I mean, there's always stuff that is quite scary whenever we realize how much information quite a lot of these companies have on us. I mean, I probably, when you're just like, trying to show someone your social media, then you have to quickly delete who you've stalked when you're in the search bar.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
So, yeah, they definitely know way too much. So it is, there's the creeping, isn't it? It's, I don't know, it's scary times.
It is scary times. Astrid, do you have thoughts on AI and the way it's kind of influencing like seemingly every part of our lives right now?
I'm not going to lie. Initially, I've been really excited by AI in terms of just helping you to do things more quickly, more efficiently. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people at work when I need to write an email in a certain way, I'm like, how do I do it without...
It's very helpful for that.
Yeah.
It's for the boring things you don't want to do. That's what it should be used for.
Yeah. So it makes it a lot better. But hearing about this bill and the impact in terms of the creative space is pretty worrying. Because if you think about it, like, plagiarism, like, was a thing, right? You can't just take someone's work and then all of a sudden reproduce it on your own. And when we look at, especially when it comes to musicians, the money within this space, it's been quite difficult in the digital age when you look at Spotify and how much artists gets paid. And now we're saying AI can sort of have free reign,
right,
and do what it wants to do to learn off us and then create songs. Is there...
Yeah.
I think it's, for me personally, I think it's devaluing creativity by allowing AI free reign. I understand that it needs to learn, but it's learning from content that other people have created. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deeply. Tell me, Eric, you're like...
No, I am 100% with you. We are on the same wavelength here because like you all, you're like, it's great for doing the tasks that you don't want to do, right? It's so like, and I agree, like, why should we sit here at the office and be like, how am I going to draft this? You're not writing War and Peace. You're drafting an email to tell someone about a meeting, right?
Yeah.
That's where AI should be being used. And yet I'm sitting here and I don't know if anyone here, probably Canva, we use Canva, right? We're creators.
Yes,
we have to do these things.
Love a good Canva.
We love it. But Canva has like AI created songs where you're like, I want the following 3 like moods or whatever, make it. And it does it. And I'm like thinking to myself, you know, there are artists who actually should be creating this and then getting paid. And I'm like, I don't think any of us, when the whole AI revolution started, we're like, you know what, I'd like to see less human creativity and let creativity go to robots. I don't think any of us were like, yeah, let's use AI for that, right?
Yeah.
Chinny, I see you nodding your hair.
Yeah, like the AI, I think, is being used for the wrong purpose. Like, it should be used for things that, you know, the fun stuff is the creativity, right? And that's what we as humans should be doing, and we should be paying other humans to be doing that if we aren't able to do that ourselves. It should be making our working week shorter. It should be allowing us to
right?
It should be allowing us to have earlier evenings because the AI is doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
So what we're finding for some reason is that the AI is now doing like the fun stuff, and
right,
as Astrid said, is like sucking out the creativity and as you rightly said as well, taking away from artists that would have been more deserving.
Well, because my thing is, I feel like the end game of this, and listen, there are companies that have put in billions of dollars into AI, right? We have been hearing for years about how it's going to revolutionize life. And I think what we're actually seeing is kind of like the curtain being pulled back and the wizard being revealed. It's like, actually, this was all a scam because what we're trying to do is take away creative jobs and just creating crap from the computer so we don't have to pay any of it, right? Yeah. Right. And that's what really worries me. To that end, the bill has been publicly opposed by Elton John, Dua Lipa, Ian McKellen, and more. Does this show the power of celebrity is weaker than ever? What do you think, Astrid?
I don't know if it shows that they're weaker than ever. I think it shows just how powerful these tech companies are.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, I feel like if you had these celebrities sort of like saying no to this, it would have probably had a bit more of an impact, but maybe it's just me sort of thinking way back in our day it was so much better. Celebrities have power, do you know what I mean? But I'm like, I think it just shows how much power these and influence these tech companies are, that the government is just like, yeah, feel free reign, no copyright required, you can have access to all of this content. But I also think it shows how, I don't know what it's like in the US, but the UK government, I don't think always value sort of the creative space. I always think like the investment within that space, when you think about like schools and music and stuff like that, that gets taken away quite a bit. So I just think it also is a reflection of maybe how the creative space is also seen as well. I think that's what it talks to from my side.
Oh, completely. The United States government has been devaluing education and specifically arts education for decades. It is pathetic what is left, honestly, and they're just going to continue to pick off of that corpse as we continue to go on into this administration. But no, I agree completely. It is it speaks to the devaluation of creative power within our society in the chasing of more and more money and more capital for the people who are absorbing all of the lion's share of the resources, right? Which, not to turn it into the proletariat state over here. I don't think anyone tuned in on a Sunday night to hear the Communist Manifesto. But Chinny, do you have thoughts on that? Do you see that happening as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Astrid said, it is definitely reflective of the power that these tech companies have. And then also, there has been a lot of talk around, recreating songs with AI and the risk of like artists being like, oh, that wasn't me, I didn't sing on that track.
Yeah.
And then their voice and likeness is being used.
Yep.
And I think that was quite similar to what happened with the strikes, the SAG strikes, right? Because there was a sort of clause saying, oh, we can like use your likeness.
Yep.
So again, it just speaks to devaluing the craft of, the creative side of things. But yeah, it's not a positive turn. It's quite dangerous, I think, actually. And then you kind of run the risk of then ended up with these manufactured entertainment that you're going to a concert, but who are you going to see?
Who are you going to
Right?
see? And also, when like the cases around potentially sampling another artist's song, how does that work when it comes to AI? When it's been learning based on other creative work, can you then take it to court for?
Right.
You see what I mean? Like, I just think it creates so much complexity by allowing it sort of free reign into other people's work.
I totally agree. And I don't even understand the legal argument. Like, yes, of course, you can have your machines digest this creative work and then do whatever they want with it. And that's completely fine. Like, give me the logic. Explain to me, other than, oh, someone paid me a lot of money, I'm going along with it, right? That's the only logic that makes sense to me. But to your point, Chinny, about kind of using AI for songs and stuff, we had in the Grammys this past year, the Beatles had a song that was produced in part by doing AI to replicate the vocals of the dead members. That is true. So we've already started to see this type of thing get a foothold and be honored. You could also make a similar, I don't think it's the same thing, but like the ABBA Voyage thing, like that's digital
Hugely
avatars,
successful, that as well.
hugely
Yeah.
successful. It's a license to print money, but like those are digital. I don't know if it's AI, and I don't want to say something like that is wrong about that, but like still, we're kind of like enshrining this weird quasi, like they're real but they're not, into our pop culture already, and I think it's dangerous. I do want to shift topic slightly. Britain is considering introducing measures to limit the amount of time children can spend on social media. Proposals include a 2-hour cap and a 10 p.m. curfew for children. Is this the right solution for the problem? Do you think there is a problem with young people using social media? I'd like to start with Chinny on this one. What do you think?
That is interesting, because I think about when I was growing up in school, and it's interesting because now they're saying a lot of stuff about, oh, should schools ban phones? I was like, when I was in school, we weren't allowed to have our phones.
Yeah.
So I'm just there like, so what are they doing? They just have their phones out in lessons? Like, people would get their phones confiscated and then they would take it away for a week. And it's so crazy to think now that, oh my God, a week without your phone. But no, it was locked up away in school and you had no access to it. And it was your fault because you brought it out during a lesson. I just can't really imagine that. I don't even know what it must just be so awful if the kids are allowed to just have their phones out, because what are they doing? And what social skills are they building during break time? So how are they interacting with each other? It's not great. And these kids don't have a sense of what it was like before social media was just in your pocket.
Yeah.
And I think, growing up, you'd go on your computer, then you'd come off your computer, or your phone didn't have any data on it, so you send your text. You've run out of credit, you can't text people. You were still detached somewhat, but you're just constantly connected to the people that you go to school with, which I think is it's almost like work when people try and email you outside hours, and it's just not a healthy relationship that I think that children should be having, for sure. It would be so difficult to enforce this, though. I have no idea how they're gonna enforce some of these rules.
Yeah, how are you going to do a 10 p.m. curfew with cell phone usage? How is that going to work? Astrid, what do you think? First of all, do you think that it's a problem right now? Do you think, I say young people, let's just use that term. Do you think there is an issue with young people being too exposed to social media?
I definitely think it's a problem in terms of when it comes to like body image, like depression, anxiety. I think social media has definitely aided in that and has played a part. I do think I'm really grateful of the time that I also I saw life without kind of fixation over mobile phones, because they weren't as advanced as they are now. But I also went outside, touched grass. It was great. And so I just think they're sort of asking, it's the wrong question for me, because I think they're not focusing on what they should be focusing on, these companies, and how do we enforce better structure and rules for them, but also digital literacy. There's a lot of misinformation out there. How do you make sure that young people have the skills and are equipped to know? Because even actually, to be honest, it doesn't just apply to young people, even adults.
Absolutely.
Some of the problem with smartphones.
On my text. Why are you forwarding this? This is not real.
Yep.
There was a I don't think she's as famous in the US as she is in the UK, but she's like a famous talk show. So Alison Hammond, she's like a famous.
Oh yeah, she's hosts the Great British Bake Off. We love her.
Oh,
yes, amazing.
So she was like all over Facebook. There was this massive rumor that she was pregnant, and it was this AI generated image, and people literally thought, "Oh my God, she's having a baby. She's had the baby." She literally had to come on television and say, this was an AI generated image. So I just think there needs to be lessons as well around digital literacy, misinformation. What are you taking in, the effect that it can have on you? I think there's like a bigger piece around this. Yes, do the curfew, which I honestly don't. I agree with you, Eric. Like, how do you even do that?
Do their phones just shut off at 10 p.m.?
Like the government mandated switch off.
And then, like, what happens if there's an emergency in their home? They're just like, oh, sorry, it happened after 10 p.m. It's not my fault. Yeah. No, that's wild. I think your point about the fact that it's not just a young person problem. Like, listen, I'm sorry, I'm going to dog on Facebook for a second, but I've fled it, and I'm trying to peel away from Instagram too, to an extent. But like, Facebook has become the boomer meme graveyard, right? It is nothing but people in their 60s sharing complete nonsense. And all of them are just all over, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, especially in the States. There's crazy, crazy things that circulate on that platform, right? So it's not strictly young people. But I will say, to echo, I think what you both kind of alluded to, I'm the old man on this panel. I grew up in the 90s. And so, like, I was before cell phones existed. So for me, I see this. I was on a plane last week and I watched a young woman in the seat, like kitty corner to me. She could not be off of her phone for more than 30 seconds at a time. She had to go back to it to scroll through TikTok. And I do think, like, I'm so lucky to have grown up in a time before that, because I'm like, oh, you have no attention span. You are incapable of just focusing on your situation that is in front of you. Must constantly be getting this dopamine hit from some external source. And this is not great for us as a society. I'm like, obviously this is one example, but I think we've all seen similar situations, right? We experienced this, right? And I'm wondering, like, what does this mean for society when people cannot be, as you put it, touching grass for more than like 5 minutes at a time, right? They must be glued to their phones. It is an issue, but I don't know if a 10 p.m. curfew that is unenforceable is going to solve it. This is a big issue. And I also think there is a great question about who ultimately is responsible. Is it the child? Good luck. Is it the parent? Also good luck. Is it the school? Not their job. Is it the tech companies? I think so, but are they going to do it?
Probably not, because it doesn't serve
That's
them
what they feed
for
off
us
of.
to be, off the phones and outside. Like, what are they getting out of it? You're not getting onto the ads. You're not buying something from a shop. Like, it's the constant being online with it. But to be fair, even now, I definitely struggle in terms of screen time. I don't know about you both. It is really hard. And I think the way the algorithm learns about you and knows what kind of content you're consuming to keep you on, it is so smart that, to be honest, the digital literacy thing I could definitely use it with as well. Just be like, how do I stay off this?
AI again. We're right back to where we started. And with that being said, though, we do need to go to a break. And before we do that, I'll just say I welcome our new digital overlords. Please keep me employed, robots. We'll be right back after these messages.
Are you scouring the web for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals? Stop it. Get Rakuten. Rakuten is a shopping sidekick that gets you cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. Right now, you can get up to 15% cash back at the stores you love. You can even stack cash back on top of the biggest sales of the year. That's savings on savings. It's more time shopping and less time searching. With Rakuten, you're always saving at your favorite stores on the things you're already buying. Cashback is automatically added to your account as you shop, and you get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership reward points instead of cashback. It's truly a no-brainer. Now's the time to join. Up to 15% cashback ends on 12/2. Plus, new members will receive a welcome bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTEN. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome back to the show with me, Astrid, and we've also got Eric and Chinny with us. So, back to the topic of social media. Something else that has kind of cropped up this week is that TikTok has blocked the term skinny talk after the trend flooded users' feed with damaging weight loss advice, with users promoting restrictive eating. So, what do you guys think when it comes to social media platforms? Do they need to do more to protect vulnerable young people when it comes to this space? Eric, it'd be lovely to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I kind of alluded to this in the last segment, but I think I'm so lucky that I didn't grow up in an age with social media, because I know for a fact I would have been the fool on any and all platforms doing things that would probably prevent me from being employed now had they been documented on video, or even like I regret posts I made on social media 10 years ago. I cannot imagine what desperate for attention like teenage Eric would have put out there, like, ugh. So I do think young people, their brains literally are not fully formed yet. They're like biologically, chemically, they're not really able to make serious decisions at the same level that like adults are. We have to be better at protecting them as a society, and we used to be better. And I think we have to get back to that, because this skinny talk thing, I'm old enough to remember. Who here remembers Heroin Chic in the late 90s, early 2000s? Yeah. Kate Moss. If you're listening to this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, go look at fashion spreads from the late 90s through like 2005. Look at women's fashion from that period, and look at how skinny women were expected to be by society in order to be accepted. And it occurred to me just a couple months ago, I was like, I think it's great. The area where we haven't screwed up is there's much more body versatility in the media. I'm in New York, and the subway ads are full of body versatility for ads. I think that's amazing. I feel like this is trying to take us back to that you must be skeletally thin. And boy, I'm not sure who that's actually propping up as a society, but it's not the majority. And I really think we need to do everything we can to stop that trend from coming back.
No, completely agree with you. And I agree with you, like, in terms of things that you post like 10 years ago, especially when I think about it, it was a space I think social media remembers, the internet remembers. Yes. Whereas as a kid, you'll make mistakes, you'll say things, you'll do things. It's part of that learning process, whereas the internet doesn't forget. And so it's a constant reminder, and we're not allowing them to have that breathing space. And there's sort of, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it drives the need for perfection.
Totally.
Absolutely. One thing I've noticed is just quite interesting is when you look at school kids on their way to school, and they don't have that weird phase that we all had, where you're just trying to figure out who you are. They're already like, face is beat to perfection, hair is perfectly in place, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm seeing school uniform, and I'm thinking, how old are you? And you already
I did not even realize my white foundation match until my 20s.
I did not. That's when you're supposed to be trying and experimenting and failing badly, but everyone's also failing badly. But because you have these trends and the pressure to look a certain way, which is even more heightened with social media, these kids are under just such immense pressure to look a certain way just to go to school, which I think is just, it's just beyond belief, to be honest.
Because every second you exist now can be documented, and it can be used against you down the line. So maybe you say or do something stupid on social media, and 20 years from now, that pops back up when you're, I don't know, running for Senate or something. You're like, hey, remember that one time you made that really unfortunate comment about that person on social media? Your career's ruined. Now, some people do need to be dragged for that stuff. Absolutely. Rightfully so. But like teenagers, come on.
No,
you don't know.
Not. But do you think what more can these companies be doing? I feel like it's a little performative, but I do understand you have to do something, but then it's a difficult kind of balance to strike. Do you think there's more that they could be doing within this space to protect young people?
Chinny.
It's an interesting one because I've just remembered when people used to lie about their age to get on MySpace. So I'm just a bit like,
I never got on MySpace. I feel like I
didn't either. Same.
Did you not?
I was never on MySpace. Never did it. Nope.
Social media wise, I did Bebo. I was definitely
I
on Bebo. I did Pixo, but that wasn't really social. You were sort of creating a website about yourself, and then did Facebook. But no, never did MySpace.
Yeah,
Did you do LiveJournal?
No,
what was LiveJournal?
I'm so glad I didn't do LiveJournal. It literally is like it was a diary that you would put out basically to the internet. And I've seen people like they resurface now, and it is like if cringe was even more cringe, it's like cringe exponential. It's so bad. It's really.
And so you just like publicize it to everyone, like,
you publicize your deepest feelings, like dear diary, like this happened to me today, and you would just share it, and people would be like, "Girl, what are you doing?"
God.
And now it's so much worse, 20 years later. But I do think, like, do I wish the companies would do something? Yes, they're not going to. So we can't like wait for them to fix it. I guess I would say parents, now is the time to step up, and you got to know what your kids are doing on social, who they're interacting with. And I realize that's very hard, and it's very easy for me who doesn't have children, doesn't want children, and will never have children to say, but you cannot expect anyone else to come and save you. This is the time to like interact with your kid, because this stuff can really mess up your life. To the skinny talk thing, right? Like there are young women and probably young men who are probably doing some very unsafe things for their bodies to fit into this ridiculous beauty standard, which again, I'm like, who is the person pushing this? Where is this coming from? Is it coming from the diet companies? Is it coming from the fashion companies? I don't know. Someone is pushing this.
Pushing an agenda, yeah.
Pushing an agenda. Whose agenda is it? And figure out how to fight back against that, because it's not good.
And that's the problem when a body is like used as like is in fashion and not in fashion. It seems to be a problem where society is using body type as a fashionable, like as if it's like, oh, skinny jeans are in and baggy jeans in, and the whole like, okay, everyone wants to have the BBLs that was sort of in the last decade, and now it's reverted back, and it's just the problem is it's like sort of commodifying that, and it makes people then feel that they have to adapt. Oh, I need to change my whole body to fit in this decade, and then 6 years down the line they're going to be looking a different way. It's just so dangerous.
And I think young people don't have the idea that it's a trend, and it fades and passes. And like you said, like looking way back early 2000s, 90s, and what that trend was like when it came to body image and how things have changed now, and you just can't keep those in mind, and you sort of have to ignore that noise. And I don't know whether, as you said, as young people are developing, you have that sort of strength to sort of say, actually, this is just part of the bigger noise and part of media, rather than what do I want to do and kind of present myself. So it'll be, I think this conversation honestly is so ongoing. I don't know where it all end to, and what is that thing that's going to make them change. Do you know what I mean? I think society, we hit like a crescendo point where something big happens and boom, everyone wakes up and we change, or we just, I feel like at the moment it's just building up to something. So
agreed.
Another kind of thing kind of going on this week in the UK is around climate change. So builders in the UK will now be required to fit solar panels on the vast majority of new homes in England. Eric, from your perspective, it'd be quite interesting to understand what it's like in the US when it comes to, solar panels, climate change. Are people like, how is that taken? Do people feel kind of a sense of ownership of it? Do the government's involvement in it?
Yeah, so prior to last November, we had an administration that was actually very much taking climate change seriously and was putting forward a lot of initiatives that were intended to make us less reliant on fossil fuels, to really push electric vehicles, to incentivize people to do solar and other renewable energy for both building and just everyday use. That was 100% part of the initiative of not just the previous administration, but the administration that was hoping to succeed it. Instead, what we got after November was a completely regressive regime that has not just done a complete 180 on that initiative, but has actually clawed back certain things. By the way, this whole slap fight that happened between Elon and Trump a couple weeks ago on social media was because Trump is getting rid of the benefits to EV car owners, which is hurting Elon in his pocket. And that's the only reason Elon got pissed, right? And mentioned certain things that I'm not going to say on the air because I don't need to be sued, and neither does this radio station. But they were all on Twitter. They've since been deleted, by the way, so don't look at Elon as some kind of folk hero. He will never emotionally fulfill you, know that. Yes, state by state it differs from locality to locality. The general feeling is in blue states, we understand that this is real, this is serious, and this is going to impact the poorest of our people more than anyone else, as it always does. But if you are in red states, they don't care. They don't want to know because, in my opinion, this is Eric Rezsnyak offering his opinion, not this radio station's. Republicans tend to only care about themselves. And so what do they care if climate change is going to ruin the world in the next century? They'll be dead. They don't care about their kids, their children's kids, whatever. That doesn't matter to them. They'll use every resource available to them while they're here like human locusts and leave nothing for the rest of us. Sorry to be grim and depressing, but here we are. Welcome to America 2025.
I have no words. I did not realize that was the reason why Trump and Elon were in this big kind of Chinny, what are your thoughts around sort of this initiative around solar panels on new homes?
Well, I think we're just grateful that at least Labour got in at the general election, because I think the direction that the Conservative Party was following was very close to. In fact, they look up to and want to emulate exactly what the Republican Party is doing right now. Unfortunately, we do have another party in the UK, which I'm not going to name because I get enough press already, that basically just modelling themselves on Trump and his administration. So there's a lot of deniability. Meanwhile, the work in London that's been done so far by the Mayor Sadiq Khan has actually been around, cleaner air. He's been introducing some laws that certain cars beyond a certain age, because of the way that they emit their fumes, aren't allowed within the London area anymore. This has actually had massive beneficial effects for the population. There's been a reduction in certain pollutants in the air. And actually, just to remind us as well that this was brought in because there was a young girl that actually died of extreme sort of air poisoning, basically, that happened. So whilst this has been such a good cause of celebration, a lot of people in the UK, certain fringes, certain groups, are just looking to what they call the ULEZ zone and say, oh, we don't want that here. Oh, don't bring that here. And it's like, but you live like 200 miles away. Well, it's got nothing to do with you. So there has been a bit more of an open challenge, I'd say, because generally, even during Boris Johnson's time, even though for all his horrible faults, he was quite okay with the sort of, green agenda when he was Mayor of London as well. So it's just interesting and quite dangerous that there are a few sort of opposition parties in the UK that are really looking for no real reason to copy the Republican stance on climate change.
And I do think when it comes to the topic of climate change, not everybody feels like the realities of it, because it feels like quite a faraway topic owned by sort of governments, and then you get kind of pockets of, oh, we need to be doing something. But do you think it's time for us all to live a more kind of climate first sort of approach when it comes to day-to-day life, the decisions that we're making? I don't know, Chinny, how does that play around from your side?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, actually. So The Guardian, which is like a broadsheet newspaper in the UK, they've actually stopped using the term climate change and now refer to it as climate crisis. And I think that's reflective of where we actually find ourselves here. I remember when it was called global warming. It's just like a gentle heating up of the ozone layer, as a child.
Yeah, there was a lot of
it almost makes us feel like a frog in boiling water, Then it became climate change. And then we started seeing just horrific things happening across the world as a result of, weather changes and climate different ways, drought, and you're going to start seeing a lot more people that have to move and become refugees because of the climate. I think it's because it just hasn't hit home in some areas that have the deniability piece. And because unfortunately, some people just don't think that it's happening until it happens to them personally.
Yep.
But it's already happened. As Astrid and I cover a lot of what goes on in the African continent, and we are seeing a lot of, extreme weather taking place, a lot of flooding, people that are not able to cope with that, people who have moved home and had to flee because there's drought that's happening and they cannot look after themselves because there's been a real change. So it is definitely time. It was time like 10 years ago, but unfortunately, I don't know what more one can do to increase the urgency, because as I say, unfortunately, people just don't think it's going to happen until it actually happens to them.
Yeah, which is the scary thing, isn't it? Like, we need to make the changes now rather than waiting until it hits that point of no return. And then we're like, oh, we needed to have done something about this like 20, 30 years ago. For Eric, from your side, what does it look like when it comes to sort of taking more of a climate first approach?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I do think we all need to do everything that we can in our individual lives. I do think the point is taken that everyone on this call, everyone listening to this call, we can be as thoughtful and as climate friendly as we can be. And ultimately, it's not making a dent because it really is the top producing companies and corporations that are responsible for the lion's share of it. So you and I are all being meant to feel guilty about our own consumption and our own impacts to climate change and crisis, and we should all be doing everything we can. But the reality is that it's still a very select number of companies that are responsible for the bulk of this, and they don't care. And that's the worrying thing. To Chinny's point, we should have done something 10, 20 years ago. The people who are pushing this are not going to let that happen. And then once the chicken comes home to roost, right? Once we're actually all impacted in a very real way, those are the people who are going to be pointing fingers. Oh, but if only someone had told me.
Had told us that
you should have done more to stop this. Why didn't you do anything? And it's like the meme with the stick and the bicycle. Oh, how could you do this to me? Yeah, it's like literally what it is. And yeah, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot worse. I just hope that eventually it gets better, but I don't know. I really don't.
Because you see that there was an article I think last year where they were looking at the usage of people with private jets. Yes. And sort of the number being taken, and actually you sort of recycling. Obviously, it's about balance, and we all need to take ownership. But to your point, Eric, it is these bigger companies. If they did make changes and people taking private jets, that would actually contribute more significantly.
Yes.
Then yes, we still need to maintain individual efforts, but it is a balance between the both. Whereas at the moment, I feel like individuals are making an effort, but actually at a high level, you're not getting that much change. There's not that much shift within this space. So it'll be, it's just worrying. It's just
it's worrying. Completely worrying. Yes, I agree.
And how do we even get to a point that, how do we get these corporations to do this, I guess, is the next question. How do you get them moving?
I don't have a fabulous answer for that, Astrid. But I do think voting with your dollar is important. And I think being informed about what companies are taking this seriously and are taking at least some steps, that's important versus just spending indiscriminately on places that couldn't care less about you, me, this planet. They're just trying to make a buck and help their stockholders. So that's how I think.
Agreed. And we are now going to go on a break. We will see you back after this song.
Hello and welcome back to Doing the Thing. So the next topic that we're going to talk about is around artists, again, music artistry. So BTS members have recently completed their military service and they are testing a comeback. I've not heard from them in a while. I was wondering where they went, so this makes sense. And then how back. So guys, which artist, dead or alive, would you like to hear new music from this year? And we'll start off with Eric.
So it is Pride Month here in the United States. I don't know if it also is over in the UK.
Yes, it is here as well.
It is,
But multiple times I have found myself saying, I wonder what blank would say about what's going on both politically and musically in the world right now. And unfortunately, we lost them. The first one that comes to mind, this week, my show released our Best Queen Song episode where we talked about the discography of Queen. And I was like, what would Freddie Mercury be doing if we still had Freddie Mercury around right now?
I think that all the time.
Yeah, right? What would he be doing? What would he be saying about Benson Boone's attempt at covering Queen at whatever that was, Coachella, which I'm going to get spicy here, but listen, if you can't do it, and very few people can do it, do not attempt it. Don't try it. So that was a huge faux pas. But I would love to hear what Freddie Mercury would be doing now and what he would say about everything that's happening. On a similar vein, Mr. George Michael, ladies and gentlemen, I still, like, what a loss that is from a kind of both a vocal perspective and an artistic perspective. He'd already started going into his, like, jazz and songbook era, but like, what would George Michael be doing now? Would he be like doing disco? I would love to hear George Michael do disco, like something, right? And then finally, this one really more politically than artistically, but I don't know if you all are familiar with Divine, who was kind of John Waters' muse, was one of the first publicly famous drag queens in the United States and starred in many of John's movies. And Divine was transgressive and political, and also a recording artist. Like, Divine made music, and it was disco, and it was, I'm not going to say it was good, but it was catchy. And like right now, what's doing the rounds is there's a great photo of Divine from the 80s looking and sneering at Donald and Ivana Trump, literally just like, these people are disgusting. And people like, Divine knew what was up.
What was up? Yeah.
Divine knew what was up, and Divine would be dragging these people publicly all the time. If you don't know Divine, listen to her music. Find out more about this incredible transgressive pioneer. But I would love to know what Divine would be doing today and what Divine would be saying about the state of our world and the music industry, because I think she'd think it was disgusting.
You know what? So I can't actually disagree with. I was like, is he going to bring someone controversial?
No, I mean, nope,
not this time. No, I'm like, no, I fully agree. I'm afraid. Astrid, how about you?
My first one, mainly because I feel like we've been waiting for an album from this person forever now. We're heading into.
I know who you're talking about, and we're not going to get it.
I feel like we would. My first one is Rihanna. We've been re-listening to Auntie for years now. It's been years, back and back. And the last song we got was the Smurf song. Like,
can we talk about it? Can we talk about the Smurf song? Can we talk about it?
No.
We have to talk about it. Because is it even a song? That's my question number one. Is it even a song? Because
we're holding it to being a song because it has her name on it. That's
I guess. But it's like two not even good samples just like smashed together like a toddler with two trucks. And I'm like, this is a song from the Smurfs movie? What is happening? The whole thing is wild. Like, Rihanna, come on, girl. Come on. SOS. SOS.
Yeah. It was a cry for help.
Yeah, one album. That's all. One album. That's all we want. Okay, she does an album and a tour. Even better, just one album.
When she had announced the pregnancy, I was like, I think that's it. We're not going to get anything this decade.
No.
Also, she's a billionaire, so she's just like, I don't need to. Guys, I'm good.
Of all the things I could do.
I'm like, she must have just hated it.
Like, the way she gave us album after album, and then just 2016, she was like, done, guys. You're getting beauty, you're getting hair, you're getting everything else but songs. So that would be someone I'd want back. And then someone else on my list, I've got two more. Prince, definitely.
I was going to say Prince.
Honestly, just the voice, everything. Prince definitely on my list. And then Tina Turner would be the other one. I think it's just music that I grew up with my mum listening around in the house. And so like, wow, I would have loved to have met these people, like interacted. Actually, I have a weird link with, I'm holding it as a link with Prince. Like, when I was at uni, I went and sort of like did one of those like working in France where you work in like a kind of Airbnb or whatever, like a hotel, sorry, it was a hotel, and then you get free stay for working. And the woman that I was working for basically used to coordinate all the tours for like big artists. And in her bar, she had this giant picture, signed picture from Diana Ross. She worked with Michael Jackson, Prince. And I was like, this was your life? Like, how, like, what? So, yeah, those would be mine, I think. Yeah, definitely. That's my top 3.
Tina would have some stuff to say about what's going on right in the world right now, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Tina would be right there with like Dionne Warwick being like, do not bring any more of this foolishness into this year. Like, what is happening? Yeah. Ugh, what a loss. God.
I know I've stolen one of yours, Chinny, but who else
did
you
steal
got?
one of mine, but even that just reminds me of, I just miss Aretha Franklin because imagine like just her side eye and her comments. We still quote her to this day, even outside of the music. But and then another person I would have said was Stevie Wonder, just because I just feel I haven't heard, like, obviously like he doesn't need to release anything, but it just it just would be nice. He
is doing a tour or a festival in the UK this year.
Is
that's good.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah. In Wales. I saw because I was looking at getting tickets.
That's really random.
Yeah, no, he's like actually he's going to Wales. There's like a tour, and I don't know, not a tour, but like he's like one of the headlines and stuff. But yeah, there's Stevie Wonder. If you want, we could go to Wales and see Stevie.
Well, we just came back, so I'm not sure I want to drive for 4 hours again.
Stevie is a true original, and so we're actually working on a Stevie Wonder episode for the podcast, and I was looking at his discography, and he really stopped releasing like new music in like the late 90s. He's done a couple collabs since then, but it's been like 20 years since Stevie has really put out new music. But you go back and you listen to his stuff, even back when he was little Stevie Wonder from the 1950s, when he's there in the harmonica as a kid, like, whew, that was just genius right out of the box. And he was changing music in a way that very few other artists have done. And we don't talk about him nearly as much.
No, I agree. Do you know what show made me fall in love with Stevie Wonder? Scandal.
Oh, sure.
Like, they played Stevie Wonder songs like in the background, like so much. Like the way I used to listen to Songs from the Key of Life, like as a result of that show, like it made me appreciate him so much. Like, I was like, Shonda Rhimes is definitely a fan of Stevie Wonder because he's all the way through. So yeah, no, we don't listen to him as much.
And listen, it's the summer. It's the perfect time to listen to Stevie Wonder. His music is made for the summer. Please go and listen to Stevie. I'll give another name of someone who's still with us, thankfully, but I really need her to release an album, and that is Cardi. Like, people don't realize this. Cardi has put out one album. One album in her entire career.
That the second one is coming.
Allegedly, but she keeps postponing it. But it's been like years. I think it's literally, I mean, that first one came out pre-pandemic.
No.
That's true. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's done
Maybe
singles.
She's just fear that it's not going to be as successful as the first one. I don't know.
Her personal life is also an absolute disaster.
That might have
I think that is 100% part of it, but I'm like, Cardi, please, like, just come back. All is forgiven. There's nothing to forgive. We love Cardi, but like, I need her to release new music in this moment now more than ever. I'm sure other like political artists from the UK that you think you'd love to hear from again now. Someone that kind of has had a history of like poking and prodding the establishment through music.
Do we have big ones that are like that? I don't know.
Sinead O'Connor kind of comes to mind, and I feel like we as a culture are kind of adjusting our approach to Sinead, because she got a lot of crap when she did what she did in the 90s with the Pope, and now everyone's like, oh no, but she was actually right. Like, she first of all, we misinterpreted what she was doing on SNL, but secondly, like, she was correct to criticize the church for what was going on. She was not incorrect, but boy, she was just destroyed. I know she was really speaking truth to power. I don't know if there's anyone else in the UK area that kind of does that.
You look like you have someone in mind.
No, because the person I have in mind is American.
I'll take American too. Who have you got that's American?
It's got to be Frank Ocean for me.
Oh, sure.
I don't know what happened to him, but he's always been very elusive, and just since the Odd Future days, I've just always been like a Frank Ocean person, and yeah, he just disappeared.
I think it has partially to do with him being openly gay, and Lil Nas X is also saying like people are trying to stifle my career, and I think he does have a new album coming out this year. But he's openly being like people are trying to strangle my career because of my sexuality. They are trying to take me down. So yeah, I think there's lots to do and we need to hear from some of these artists, especially those who are still with us, because we don't want AI resurrecting Freddie Mercury, and we do not want Benson Boone trying it either. So that's all we have time for on Doing the Thing today. Thank you, Astrid and Chinny. Where can our listeners find you?
So you can find It's a Continent on any sort of streaming service on Spotify or Apple Music, etc. And then you can also find us on itsacontinent.com, and our Instagram is It's a Continent Pod.
Perfect. I am Eric Rezsnyak from the Great Pop Culture Debate. You can find us at greatpopculturedebate.com, and we're also on Blue Sky. We are on Instagram. We're on YouTube, and you can find our show on any platform that you stream podcasts. We would love for you to check us out. Remember to catch new episodes of Doing the Thing live on Wizard Radio Station every Sunday from 8 p.m. UK time, and on all podcast platforms from Monday morning. We'll see you next week.